Hello and welcome to a Connotation Points video Snark. I'm currently reading through The Betrothed by Kiera Cass. This is not the first video of this book, so I'd recommend that you watch the other videos before you start this. Links are posted below. Chapter 7. Over the next few days, Delia pesters Hollis to explain where she went with Jameson. Hollis explains that there was just some rooms and she was barely in there for 5 minutes. Della says that it was closer to 15, but the entire court was outside waiting. I doubt that very much, but okay. Delia also asks if Hollis got married to Jameson, and I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Hollis tells Delia that such an idea is absurd. Hollis then reassures Delia that she'll know soon enough what happened behind that closed door. Delia switches gears slightly and instead asks if things are going well with Hollis and Jameson, and then she brings up how proper ladies have ladies' maids, which I seriously thought that Delia was because she helps Hollis get ready, but for some reason she's just some random chick who follows Hollis everywhere and helps her get dressed and not an actual maid, because following logic is for squares, I guess. Delia is worried about her status bringing shame to Jameson, so she asks Hollis if there's any girls at court that Hollis also trusts. And I'm all for a woman who is about to step into status having maids and ladies in waiting and all of that. And I'm also all for political drama, but the only problem is that the book is using this as an excuse to drag in the exhausted trope of girl and girl hate. Fine then, if you were going to ask one more person at court to see to your needs, who would it be? And in the name of Estes, don't you dare say that pig-nosed Anna Sophia. Nothing quite like randomly bringing down another woman's physical appearances. I'm going to scream if somebody dares suggest that this book is feminist. Allison leaves her rooms in Delia and walks around. As she goes, she describes first the physical appearance of the castle and then the layout of it, where the royal family and any visiting royals from other countries stay. Probably not going to be relevant, but just throwing it out there in case it comes up again. As Hollis continues along, she almost collides with the two young men from the... I need to come up with a name for this fake country. It's now Isolate. Since Hollis is an important figure in the court right now, they know who she is. They introduce themselves as Silius and Sullivan. Silius then quickly sends his brother on ahead and apologizes to Hollis, saying that his brother is very shy. Silas continues on and says that the gossip is that Hollis is to become the next queen. Although Hollis is quick to dismiss that, saying that there's no ring on my finger just yet, which seems like a fair thing to say, especially considering how much time she spent building up to the fact that Jameson is a player. Isolate has a queen, but it is universally acknowledged that she lacks a level of strength and generosity one would expect from a leader. Your people will be fortunate to have you. Again with this trashing on other women, and at the expense of lifting Hollis up, this isn't a compliment if you have to insult somebody else. Also, I'm confused as to how Silius got to the conclusion that Hollis has strength and is generous from a 5-second conversation, because we've been inside of Hollis's head for 6 and some chapters now, and the only thing that I'm seeing is a girl who folds like a flan the second Jameson turns his attention to her, and a constant me attitude. Kind of what Silius just said his former queen was doing. Hollis then remarks upon the tools that Silas is carrying and thinks about the things Sullivan had been carrying as well. She then says this wonderful gem. Forgive me, but why is it that you're still working now that you're here? You've left Isolate, which, by the way, may be one of your smartest things a person could do, so why not start over and be a gentleman like your father? It would certainly be cleaner. For some reason, Hollis seems to have some sort of a mistaken impression that you simply have to exist and be rich in order to be a lord, and that simply by showing up in Corona, the family is somehow entitled to be swathed in riches and court life and titles. Actually, this reminds me a little too much of the caste system presented in the selection series, that you were born into status and you couldn't change the fact that society dictated that the only thing that you could be was a maid or a world-famous singer, and that you couldn't change any of that. Silas talks some about his father's yearning to have a skill, and then he talks about how he made his first sword and gave it to his cousin. But his skills don't just extend to making weapons, but he also offhandedly mentions jewelry too, which not exactly the same kind of skill set. Sure, if you already have the pre-cut gem, then I suppose having some metalworking skills would come in handy, but the metal used to craft a sword is a whole world apart from crafting a ring, even if the same material is being used. Hollis then asks if the weather in Isolate is as cold as everybody says it is. After agreeing that it can be quite cold, Silas expresses surprise that Hollis has never been to Isolate before, especially since it's close to Corona. Hollis says her father does travel a lot, but has never once taken her anywhere. I didn't want to say that I stopped asking ages ago, when it became clear they wouldn't have minded my company so much if I'd had the common sense to be born a boy, or at least have come after I had a brother. But that didn't happen, and I didn't know where the blame for that belonged, but they decided it was mine. A double whammy! Not only is it casual misogyny, but also randomly blaming your children for something that you failed to do. Just have more kids and stop being awful parents. Look, I'm expecting the casual misogyny given how this is supposed to be a historical fiction. What I wasn't expecting was how miserable Hollis's parents are for no real reason. Silas then teases her over the incident at the river, which Hollis defends herself about the entire thing, and then says Silas wasn't even at the court when that happened anyway. Hollis then randomly asks him if he knows where the seamstress's rooms are, despite the fact that she's been at court longer. But whatever. Silas says that he thought that he saw it in such and such way. As Hollis goes, she reflects upon speaking with the foreigner. And yet, speaking in the hallway with Silas, I'm not going to pronounce that, marked the first time I'd ever spoken to a foreigner. I was surprised to find he was not so different from me, not so difficult to see at home within these castle walls. Wow, almost like people from other countries are just, I don't know, people? Groundbreaking. Chapter 8. The next morning, Nora shows up at Hollis's rooms. When Delia asks why, Hollis says that she trusts Nora and this was all Delia's suggestion. Delia is apparently still stuck in high school, but Hollis continues to be the bigger person and points out why this is a good idea. Nora knows a lot of people that the other two don't, and she's smart. Nora is delighted to have been offered such a position. The way she asks makes Hollis think that Nora has gotten over Jameson picking Hollis over her. Either that or Nora never actually cared in the first place. But Delia is apparently not going to let any of this go. The book then establishes twice in one page that Delia is the primary lady-in-waiting, and all of the other ladies-in-waiting would refer to her. Delia then claims a headache and storms away. I'm sorry, but what a brat. Once Delia is gone, Nora apologizes to Hollis for her previous rude behavior towards Delia. She explains that everybody's family has drama, but it makes life easier when there's always some bigger scandal going on. And I doubt that anything could possibly top what Delia went through. Nora promises to apologize to Delia later and to try and put all of this nasty business behind them, if only for Hollis's sake. And then, because two girls playing nice with each other is not a good novel, according to most contemporary authors at any rate, Hollis's mother needs to come in to stir the pot now, I guess. She rants and raves for a little bit, but it basically boils down to one simple fact. Hollis is growing up, and soon she won't be under Mommy Dearest's thumb anymore. She's upset that Hollis picked out another lady-in-waiting. Oh, and the mother still doesn't have a name. At this point, she's the character equivalent of a mosquito buzzing in your ear. She shows up, whines a lot, and then kind of vanishes into some kind of nebulous void until the plot needs another kick in the pants. Hollis finds Delia in the garden and calls Delia out on her nonsense about telling Mrs. Mosquito about Hollis inviting Nora to be a lady-in-waiting. Delia is just upset and hurt that Hollis would invite somebody who has participated in Delia's continuing hurt for the past decade to be by Hollis's side, despite the fact that Nora has shown to Hollis that she wants to change. But maybe she hasn't actually said or done anything to indicate to Delia that she has actually changed or not. But it would appear as though the two of them are at a standstill. Delia still loves Hollis and wants to support her in any way possible. However, she's upset that Hollis would have done something like invite Nora without at least telling her. Hollis apologizes for not having told Delia, but also says that Nora seems genuine in wanting to change. Delia isn't convinced and calls Nora an actress. Hollis again urges Delia to trust her, but Delia refuses and storms off, citing that she doesn't like Hollis much right now. And it's barely a plot, but I guess it's better than just pointlessly moving around with no real goal in mind, so I guess. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss anything. Also, while you're waiting for the new video next week, be sure to catch up on my other video series. If you've already caught up with that, then you can head over to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated daily. People who support me on Patreon also have early access to my daily Snark, but also bonus Snark that isn't up anywhere else. People who donate to me, either by supporting me on Patreon or by making a one-time donation via PayPal or Ko-fi, also get shoutouts in my videos. Thank you so much to Don and Phoebe for supporting me already. Be sure to join my Patreon or donate to hear your name next week. Also, if you want to read some of the stuff that I've published, then you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have 18 erotic short stories, 1 short story collection, and 1 full-length novel. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys!